lots of play. And
this episode will be a little bit different because we have a first bigger setback. You cannot get from Volkswagen new fuel line for the T4, so you have to rebuild it yourself. I'm from Finland. Take it out. Hi, I am Sami and I want to be Overlander. First, I revealed my ego. Hello again from Wannabe Overlander YouTube channel. Previous episode we installed wheel bearings and some wishbone arms and etc. But now I have installed this brake shield. I have a drum brakes here in a rear axle. And those working fine enough for me, and it's a little bit maintain free. This car don't have a brake force adjusting valve here in the rear axle, so this is quite simple. And I have these bump stops. I think they are just putting in the hole here. Yeah, they are quite easy to fit in the hole. Then I really don't know what to do next. I'm thinking about fuel tank and the front torsion bars, but I have a little bit issue. These fuel lines are so old. Of course they are original, but these hoses are quite dry. So I'm thinking about where to get new, and I checked with the spare parts number. And I think they don't sell new lines like this, so I go ask from some shop if they could make new one like this, because they are pressed connections here. I don't want to replace them with the hose all the way. I think they could work like that also, but if I can get this style, original style PVC pipes, it could be nice. Let's go check what we can find. So let's install wheel hub to the rear axle. I take it from freeze, put a little bit grease here. It's almost sliding in without tool. And this time I have this old collar which I could use inside. Now I should have everything. Now I have to centerize it. You need to have a collar in the bearing, inner collar, so you don't damage the new bearing, and then just roll this in. Yeah, that's it. It's easy when you have these tools. Now we got the new wheel hub here. I wait braking parts which I ordered to coming here, so I can start to installing the brakes. I'm also searching way how to remove this collar, because if in the road you need to change wheel bearing, you obviously need to take out this old outer inner collar. Let's try. I have this very cheap tool from Biltema, and this is some kind of name knife edge puller. So let's try. It cannot be fitted here where this collar meets the flange, but here is this edge. I take out already one. I tried already. So let's try again this one. If you tightening these bolts too much, then you crush the collar even tighter to the shaft. When you pull this, it's actually tightening anyway. Let's try like this. It's almost hand tight. Put a little bit some lubricate here if it starts to move. It's very cheap tool. If I use vise, it's much easier, but try it here in the table. If I need to do it in the road, perhaps I don't have vise with me. Yeah, it looks like it's already moved, so it wasn't quite tight in this time, or I do it right way. Yeah, I feel like it's sliding out quite easy now. Of course, it's possible some bearing is someone changed already and it's not so tight. Could do in the roadside. Yeah, and here you have outer bearing, inner collar. So it is here. Okay, what we are going to do next, I have some new parts here, and I need to install torsion bars and the fuel line, so then I can install the fuel tank. And as you know, you cannot get from Volkswagen new fuel line for the T4, so you have to rebuild it yourself. And I cleaned my old fuel lines, and I went to shop yesterday, some hydraulic shop, and they didn't have those parts for makes those connections, and because there is inside some kind of sleeve, and they say they couldn't order for me, so they had another solution for me. But in Finland, the company is not allowed to make any parts like this for the cars. And it's silly and funny thing, because you might know if the original fuel line is 30 years old, it gets very brittle, and the hoses are not flexible anymore, so it's good leaking anytime, and you're not allowed to make the new one, and the factory don't sell the new one. So, but they have parts for me, and this kind of connections, and they say this one is very good, and these are made for the automotive. So this is you just put it in, and this is you able to open the connection also later. So, and this is a very tight and good. They tell me it's a very proper connection for those hoses. And so I could make a new fuel lines for me, and here I need to make a connection for the auxiliary heater. So this is for the fuel lines. And then torsion bars, I have new rubbers there, and these are Clean Marks torsion bars, and the new bolts and nuts. I need to use these old brackets and locking nuts. Perhaps I'm going to a little bit brush this and spray just some bottom color there. Let's start to put something back together and check this. Torsion bars, can I fit them there? Let's put this right side torsion bar, and here in the end you can see this blue mark. But anyway, you can't fit them wrong way, because there is this slot for the nut. You have to put it in right way. There's not lots of play, and I use this kind of wire to put in, hang on here until I can get the bolts in the hole. But you leave it a little bit low enough so you can turn the bolts in the hole. Leave it hanging like this. It's easier to put the lower bolt first, then the upper bolt. But first I check the rubber. This rubber you should just put in the up of the spring, because it cannot stay there symmetric, so it's not matter what way you put it in. Little bit tricky to install because there's no place really, so put the bolt in the socket, and then you have to upper nut. It was, if I remember, 160 Newton meter, and lower 130, but they say it's a nut, lower nut 130, but there's no room for the moment key, so you have to tightening it from this side, from the bolt side, not from the nut side. But I think it's not a different too much, because it's short bolt. I think the moment can go through anyway. Tightening those bolts to the moment, 160 Newton meter. Upper bolt should be there. So the lower bolt is 130. I put the wood block up here, so I hope this is not turned up when I tightening it. Yeah, torsion bars are in place. I have new torsion bar pin bolts. As you see in the previous video when I dismantle this, there is a little bit wear in the threads, so that's why I want to put the new ones in. Another one was very rusty, not very rusty, but the nut was stuck here. So these are actually usable, but I put the new one because I can have a new one. These nuts I didn't found, but they are quite well. And I have new nuts here, and now I clean these so we can put them back together with the new bolts. These are soft bolts as original too, 8.8. So I'm going to put in grease here. So let's put the new bolt in, and here is this slot. So you better keep this bolt all the time very well greased, because anytime you need to adjust your springs, the nuts not be jammed. I don't know what's the moment for this, but I think it's not need to be very tight. It just keeps the bolt in the place, so it's not going to jump over this edge when you turn it. New nuts, and here should have a good grease, so when you turn it, it can rotate here. So here is the new torsion bolt. I get the 2 post packet from the Autodoc, and first one I have a brake drums, Maile quality. They look quite nice. My old one is fine too, but obviously I make a very big repair, so I'm going to put this new one in. And then I have here is brake calipers. I don't know why I have 2 different brands, but I make a order same time, but I think it's never mind if they are same. So they looks correct. There are different markings. I don't like they send them like this, but I think they should be fine, same. Anyway, 54 millimeter. So I think these ones are fine. What the is this cable here? I think I can pull it out. Definitely these are not for this car. I found old brake pad and it should look like this, and the new one is like this. Perhaps this one is for vented brakes. This one needs to return with the brake servo, because brake servo is also wrong. And I get the brake master cylinder. This is 22 millimeter. I can't really know what one is right one, but I'm measuring this one. This looks exactly same what I have in the car, so perhaps this one is correct one, but I can't be sure that no this kind of markings. Outer dimensions are similar, so perhaps this one is correct. And brake hoses, there are many types. I need to check in this one, are they correct? I need to check this and these brake line clips. So that's it. Previous episodes I get a little bit some progress with this T4 Overland vehicle. This episode will be a little bit different because we have a first little bit bigger setback. As you know, we just installed new bearings and new wheel hubs. And guess what? I checked those wheel hubs in last autumn when I get them, so they look quite nice. But I show you there are also some kind of differences. So I have to tell you, we cannot use these wheel hubs. Yeah, this was Ridex wheel hubs, and you can't use it. There is not the big differences, but I show you how it goes. I have a new brake discs and wheel drums for the rear, but you check this one and it could not centering. There is so much slack
in the center collar. And if you check it with the original, center perfect. You see, and this pin spring have a little bit something to do with that, but not the major. Major thing comes from the center hole. And these are my car original. I possibly use this, but if I start to do putting new in, I don't go back anymore. So the Redex one was 30 euros each, and this one is 120 euros each. So the price of the 4, I can get only one new, but I just make the order already, the new ones, and also wheel bearings, because you might remember if you pull out this one, you probably broke the bearing. So we will see that today. Same issue remains here in the rear drum brakes. If I put the new drum there, I cannot centerize it. It's not possible to use this hub. The original hub, it's centerized perfectly. There is no way what I can do for this. If you check diameter for this Redex, 67.3 or 4, and this is exactly 68 millimeter. And it's not also that, it's also too low, 7.5 millimeter. And Redex one, it is 6.5 millimeter. So it's not a big difference, but they machining too much out of this edge, and it's not sharp like an original. It's a minor difference, but a huge difference for the use. All of these brakes have this kind of tapered edge, so it could not get to the corner of here in the wheel flange. Definitely need to have new hubs, and this one it's unusable. So you definitely cannot remove bearings if you once install them, because if you pull out this one, the hub, this collar come out from the bearing, and that's it. So I have new bearings ordered already, so I have to install the new bearings also with the wheel hubs. They get for me perhaps only one original wheel hub. I'm not sure do I get all 4 pieces, so I need to clean those original what I have. You cannot use these aftermarkets. Everything aligned. This reminds me a little bit my work with the Cadillac 59. I need all the time install everything several times. I'm not a professional, and that's it. You can see what happens. But I'm so lucky I found this at this point before I put the all parts back together. So that is some kind of Buddhist mentality, so you can get worse. I can ruin my new brakes and everything if I try to use this. So now it's quite easy to change. It's a good exercise. The bearing of instruction to use that cutting edge puller, I think it's not need to use for the removing bearing, I mean removing the wheel hub. I use this method. Like that. And then the outer collar goes off. This is the last new bearing which I need to remove. Then I have to clean my original ones if I don't get the all new ones. And I don't know what I do for this. Do I try to return them? I need to remove collar so somebody else get the problems with this. So perhaps I leave them in the home. I don't know.
Thank you for watching and see you in next episode.
I need to do something totally different. I'm so boring to have wrong parts or parts which are not usable. So I'm going to put some cavity wax to the doors, so then I can put some window lifters or something, small things in.